2, we're going live. No. Welcome back to part 2 of St. Joe's Week 3 NFL preview. We're going to get right back into it. So, Kath, you got the Bengals at the Jets. The Bengals are 0-2. Jets are 1-1, which is kind of a weird record. You would think it's the other way around for that game. For the Bengals, are they one-hit wonders after making the Super Bowl last year?
I don't really think so. I think it's, just time to put it together. PFF ranked that offensive line, 8th coming into this season. And, the O-line's been the only thing I really see is, lacking in this team right now. So I think once the O-line starts gelling together better and once they start putting the pieces together, the Bengal team's going to be right where they picked up last year.
Yeah, I know we brought it up earlier with Flacco. Some of you guys were getting pretty mad at me for saying that he's not he doesn't have a place up there in the top 5 for the passing yards. But Kath, do you think that the Jets have an impending quarterback battle when Zach Wilson is back from injury?
Let's be honest, Flacco is just not a good quarterback. I know I made a joke earlier about Flacco coming back for an MVP season, but that's just not the case. So when you invest such high draft value on a guy like Zach Wilson, you're going to make sure he gets his opportunities to shine. He may not be, the long-term answer, but they have to give him a shot.
Definitely. And you got a winner for that game between the Bengals and Jets?
I have the Bengals, getting their first win of the season and in easy fashion. I think, Burrow's going to have a huge game. I think both Higgins and Jamar are going to have huge games, and I see Mixon having a comeback game. So,
Brian, how about you?
Yeah, I feel like the Bengals, they have all the weapons they need. It's just they haven't been putting together these past 2 weeks. And I feel like the Jets, they just had a lucky win over the Browns. They only won by 1 point. So I feel like the Bengals will take the win for the Jets this week.
Well,
man, I hate to start off part 2 with an extremely hot take, but I'll give you my pick. I'll give you the reason why. I got the Jets over the Bengals, and this is clear. Jets at home. I mean, the Bengals have they have a good quarterback. They have a great running back. They have a great wide receiver. They don't put their offensive pieces together, and everybody's like, just gotta wait, give them some time. But when other teams don't put their offensive pieces together, you're thrown in the flames. They're one of the worst teams in football. I think that it's time for us to start the Bengals hate. They're not a good team. And it's just Jamar Chase, Mixon, and Burrow. I mean, outside of that, once Higgins comes back, you'll get some production. They don't have a good tight end. They don't have a good wide receiver 3. Their offensive line's not good. Their defense isn't great. I mean, Evan McPherson's the only, shining star of that team. I mean, the Jets are just such a complete team at this point. I like the Jets over the Bengals at home. I mean, easy win. They pulled it off last year with, was it Money Mike White? Was that him?
It was.
I mean, Joe Shiesty does not have any of his swag. It's just easy Jets win.
Yeah, so Will hates the Chiefs this year, thinks they suck.
Will
hates the Bengals this year. No, that's what you said. So we're going to go on to Jack. Jack, who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, I was at last year's game with the Bengals and Jets. Crazy Mike White win. I'm going next week versus this game, and I have the Jets again. The D-line, I like the Jets D-line, and I think they're going to blow it up, and the cornerbacks are just good. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, they're going to get a bunch of picks on Burrow when he gets pressured. And I actually like the offense. I mean, I don't like Flacco. I think Wilson's way better, and when he comes, he'll definitely elevate the offense, but the weapons are so good with Wilson, Moore, Davis, Carter, Hall, that they could just squeak out this win, probably by a field goal or a touchdown.
I'm going to have to go with the Bengals. They just made the Super Bowl, guys. And they're playing the New York Jets. I don't think it shouldn't be any easier than that. For some reason, you two are agreeing that the Jets are going to win. I are going to completely disagree with that. Joe Burrow, revenge game, just lost to the Cowboys and the Steelers, which are not great teams. I know I brought up that before, docking other teams, but I think the Bengals, they're going to play angry, and that's going to be their reason for success in New York. For our next game, Brian, you have the Raiders at the Titans. And for Las Vegas, when is this Derek Carr and Devontae Adams duo going to kick in?
Yeah, so I feel like they're going to kick in against the Titans. Titans have not been good this year. Derrick Henry is getting fed too much by the ball. And, I feel like Derrick Henry, there's going to be a downfall with him this year. So I feel like the Raiders will have the win over this one, and Derek Carr and Devontae Adams will click in this game, just because of their chemistry for college, and Devontae Adams probably top 2 wide receiver. So I feel like Derek Carr has the weapons. He's not using them, but I feel like he's going to use them, and they'll get the win over the Titans.
Yeah, hopefully that college duo gets going. And on the Titans side of the ball, with how bad that Monday Night Football game was, could Tannehill be playing his final games as a Tennessee Titan?
Yeah, I mean, the Bills probably the best team in the NFL right now, but you can't just go 41-7 and lose 41-7. And they lost the first week to the Giants, being that the Titans were a playoff team and Giants didn't even make the playoffs last year. So I feel like Titans, they have Derrick Henry, but I think it's going to be a downfall for the Titans this year.
Yeah, Brian, I know you already gave your pick. You're going to take the Raiders in this game. So, Will, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Raiders go 1-2. The Titans fall to 0-3. And I mean, couldn't have said it better last week. We were spot on about the fact that A.J. Brown leaving is just the downfall of King Henry. I mean, the throne is gone. He's no longer a very good running back. He's old. Does not have the power he used to have. They don't have the ability to create the space for him to run downhill into guys. I mean, they're working with a different offense now. And I mean, this Titans team is just sad. I mean, it's just no longer a good defense, no longer a good offense. There's really no bright side to it. The young receivers are playing well, but good at the least. I mean, they're nothing special. And this Raiders team is just showing flashes of being an amazing team. I mean, their offense, when they do one thing, they don't do the other. Week 1, they only pass it to Adams, and then week 2, they go completely away from that and they spread the football. I mean, if they could put like 2 things together, they'll be a great team.
So, Jack, who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, I actually have the Titans win this game. I mean, let's not forget Mike Vrabel is a coach. Mike Vrabel is a great coach, and they're going to start including Burks and Woods more into that offense. And I think that offense actually won't be horrible. I don't think it's Tannehill's last games. It might be his last year because he'll probably be traded to the Colts because they like those boring QBs. And the Raiders, I just don't like them because the coaching, honestly. They had John Gruden, lost him, and now their coaching isn't good anymore. They're 0-2 for that reason. And I just don't see him. I see him going on 3.
Yeah, it seems like for once today, I'm going to have to agree with Will. This Titans team is
easy pick.
This Titans team is pathetic this year. They're really bad. Derrick Henry, I think, is going to finally take that decline as he's been pretty much run into the ground by Tennessee these past few years. Tannehill is simply not enough, especially without A.J. Brown, like Will said. So for me, I got the Raiders in this one, even though they're traveling away. Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, Ben. Obviously, Derrick Henry is reaching that, 27, 28-year-old running back cliff that, affects that position more than others. And I'll take the Raiders with the condition that they feed Devontae Adams the ball more.
So the next game we have, and it's going to be the final game of the 1 o'clock slate, is the Eagles at the Commanders. And first up, is this the Eagles' division to lose? In my opinion, it is. I think they are, even though I'm a Cowboy fan, I think they are the best team in the division. They just took a commanding win over a very hot Vikings team. They have one of the easiest strength of schedules in the NFL after from week 3 to week 18. Hurts and A.J. Brown are possibly one of the best duos, quarterback wide receiver duos in the NFL. Jason Kelce, their center, is killing it on the offensive line. He's commanding the whole line, so the entire line plays better when he's playing at his elite level. And also, an interesting fact I found from their last game against the Vikings, when Darius Slay was guarding Justin Jefferson, he caught more passes from Kirk Cousins than Justin Jefferson did. So if that doesn't say enough about how good Darius Slay has been this season, I don't know what will, especially since he's tied for second in total interceptions on the year, and he also has the highest PFF grade for all corners. And the other question is going to be for the Commanders. Can Carson Wentz lead this team to a playoff spot? No. There's not much more I could really say. They beat a very bad Jaguars team. They've also lost to a very bad team in the Lions, although I love them. They're not the greatest team, let's be honest. Wentz does have some serious weapons in Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, Antonio Gibson, but all that will not be enough unless Carson Wentz really turns it on and becomes a top 10, 15 quarterback, which I just don't think he will. So obviously, if you couldn't tell, my pick for this game is going to be Philly going 3-0 in Washington. Scaff.
Yeah, I have Philly. Philly's the best team in this NFC East, and I don't think it's really disputable at this point. So.
Brian.
Just the way the Eagles have been playing, I'm going to take the Eagles over this one. And the Commanders team has always been mediocre at best. So I don't think this is going to be anything special from them this year. So I got the Eagles winning this one.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, Eagles clearly going to win it. They're going to win a ton of games. And one thing that I didn't hear Ben say was there's no love given to Jalen Hurts. It's finally Jalen Hurts' season. I mean, he's possibly looking at a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's so good. He's taken over that role. I mean, everything he does just impacts an offense in a positive way. It goes down to the easiest, just inside handoff to Miles Sanders. Even his little fakes for a read option sometimes get the defense to jump. I mean, he's a great runner. His arm has so greatly improved. I mean, just a great team all around the Eagles. I mean, it's going to be an easy win.
Jack.
Yeah, I have the Eagles too, but I mean, I don't think they're actually that good. They're going to beat up on the NFC East teams, but they verse like the Rams, the Packers, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills. They're going to get killed. They're not that good of a team. They're only just good in the NFC East because they're much better than those teams because they're not good. Not a great division.
I'm going to need to step in real quick. First of all, the Rams are not better than the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a very put together team. That secondary is just great. The defensive line has been mediocre, but it's held its job. I mean, Fletcher Cox has he's been a stud. I mean, even at his old age, working the backfield a lot. Their offense is just so amazing. That offensive line, their run game, and even with their weapons, Devontae Smith finally working the wide receiver role. I mean, they're just much better than the Rams and other teams. I mean, I see them being able to make it all the way to Super Bowl if they could take out the Bucs. I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson lives in Tom Brady's nightmares, and now he's on the Eagles. It's scripted, the NFL. It's scripted for a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. We know it's going to happen.
Instead of having an 8-hour video of all of us arguing against Will and all of his just flat-out incorrect takes, I'm just going to move us on to the 4 o'clock slate. We got the Jaguars, who are 1-1, at the LA Chargers, who are also 1-1. So, Will, for you, who should be credited more in this offense, Doug Peterson or Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, Doug Peterson, got to give him some credit stepping up. I mean, just better coaching situation, but Trevor Lawrence has definitely made one of the biggest leaps I've seen out of any player. Last year, people were starting to fade him. I mean, for all quarterbacks that are rookies, they get faded early and they make a comeback here. But I really see a lot out of Lawrence. I mean, I've watched him tear apart my Colts. He's been perfect. He's been very good at quarterback, and his weapons are starting to step up. He's almost creating weapons. He's just doing something I didn't think that Trevor Lawrence had in him, and I think he's the reason that they're doing so well.
Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence tears apart the Colts defense, and that's the same Colts defense that's going to blow out the Kansas City Chiefs. So makes a lot of sense from Will right there. We're going to move on to the Chargers, and with Keenan Allen out and how good Mike Williams has been playing, is Mike Williams the new wide receiver 1 for LA?
Well, I have to say Mike Williams is wide receiver 1 when Keenan Allen's out for sure. But I think when Keenan Allen comes back, it's still going to be him. He's still the veteran. He's still the wide receiver 1 just because, at least by definition, he's going to be the wide receiver 1. But, I mean, Mike Williams has been playing so well. I think he's going to, come back and he's going to do a lot better than he did last year, and he's going to step up into that role. But I don't know about wide receiver 1 too early.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Keenan is still a better player as of right now. But Mike Williams being a lot younger in a 2 or 3 years' time, I think he definitely could be that guy for Justin Herbert moving forward in this offense. So we're going to give us the picks. So, Will, who you got winning this game?
Yeah, I mean, you want to go with the Jaguars, if they're a big win, but the Chargers are just too dominant. They're just such a great team. I'm not going to go crazy on this one. It's the Chargers.
Jack?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to go crazy. It's the Chargers easy. Jaguars versus a horrible team, the Colts, and They're not that good, so Chargers easy.
Yeah, the Jaguars suck. I got the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I got the Chargers as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sweep. The Chargers, they've been playing well on both sides of the ball, and yeah, it's just gonna be the Chargers in this one.
So we're gonna move on to the 4:25 games. So Jack, you got the Rams who are 1-1 at the Arizona Cardinals, also 1-1. So for LA, despite the win that they just had, should we be worried about how the Rams have been playing so far this year?
No, we should not be worried. I mean, they versed the best team in the Colts. They had a little Super Bowl hangover, and the next week they played pretty good. You should be worried very slightly, Rams fans, but not too much. I mean, the only bad part about that team to see is the top of the roster. The talent is just amazing, but then there's a horrible drop off. It's both on the offensive and defensive side, and we saw Robinson be used a little bit more last week. Hopefully, they can start doing that with Cup and Robinson, not just only on Cup. And I could see him still winning that division. I think it'll be easy for him.
And for the Cardinals, do they stay on this type of trajectory? Oh God, I can't get that word out. On this type of path that they're going, or do you think Kyler turns things around because they've had a bad loss to the Chiefs and had
a trajectory, go 3-3, that'd be good. And then some really good wide receiver named DeAndre Hopkins will come back. He'll be looking a bit jacked up. I don't know why, but he will be. And once he comes back, I mean, I'm saying the Rams are going to win the division, but they can both win the division. I don't know who's going to win it. I don't really like the Cardinals, so give me the Rams win that division, but Cardinals could sneak in a playoff spot.
yeah, who knows why DeAndre Hopkins will look so strong when he returns. Really, it's just up to the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
So who do you have winning this game?
I think the Rams are going to win, but this year's just been so weird with everything, so I'm just going to go with the Cardinals.
I'm going to completely disagree. I got the Rams in this one. I think the Cardinals are too inconsistent, so I'm taking LA.
Yeah, I got Kyler and the Cardinals in this one coming back after that close game last week.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. They've just been playing very good on both sides of the ball, and Matthew Stafford has all the weapons he needs. So I feel like he can beat the Cardinals.
So a pretty even split, which we haven't seen yet today. Usually we're all in agreement or all just disagreeing with Will, but that's pretty good right there. So Kev, the next game for the 425s, we have the 0-2 Falcons at the 1-1 Seattle Seahawks. On the Atlanta side of things, they've lost 2 games by a total of 5 points. Do you see this as a positive or a negative for Atlanta, comparing it to their expectations coming into this year?
I mean, for anyone, 0-2 is, a bad start, but for Atlanta, it's kind of an okay start.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not really worried if I'm the Falcons. Obviously, the games they lost are really close. They had a great start against the Saints, and they had a last possession game against the Rams. So I think I think it comes down to some coaching changes, and I think Atlanta could at least compete for a win every other week or such. So definitely use Kyle Pitts more if I'm them, and try to get the ball to the younger guys, and let them get in some open field and let them score.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is way too talented to be having the type of production that he's having in that offense. So hopefully they can get him more involved. And for Seattle, was Geno Smith's first game a fluke? Because he played incredible. But the second game, we kind of saw classic Geno Smith like we knew. So who do we really see going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, when we saw Geno in New York, he was just an undisciplined guy who threw a bunch of interceptions. And in Seattle, you really see a change in his play style. He's really, back to the fundamentals. He has good pocket presence now. He goes through his progressions better. So obviously it's definitely an uptick from his New York days, but I wouldn't go as far to call it a fluke. He's been working really hard the last couple of years, and he's improved a lot.
Definitely. So who do you have winning this game? It actually is a decently close one here in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with the Falcons. They lost the last 2 games really closely, so I think they have one up on the Seahawks here.
Brian?
So I'm a Seahawks fan, so this might be a little bit biased, but I'm going to take the Seahawks just because they had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So I think Geno has the 2 weapons right there, and he can use them. So I got the Seahawks with this one.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an absolute dogfight. I mean, this is just 2 powerhouses going against each other. But I think the Falcons are going to just squeak this one out.
Jack?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the Falcons are going to squeak this one out. Cordell Patterson, expect a big game out of him.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big game out of Mariota, too. I know he showed flashes in the past couple of weeks. And also AJ Terrell, I think, might shut down DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, whoever he's on. So I got the Falcons in this one. We're going to move on over to Brian for Green Bay at Tampa Bay. And for Green Bay, is there a clear RB1 for the Packers?
Yeah, there's going to be a clear RB1. Aaron Jones, he played amazing the last game against the Bears. So, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers might not go to the air as much anymore and might just hand it off mostly to Aaron Jones. And, yeah.
And for the Bucs, is there a different mindset in the locker room knowing that this is Brady's last year?
Yeah. I feel like Brady, he's amazing. He's probably the best quarterback ever. And coming out of retirement just to play another season, it's amazing. He's doing like what Brady does. He's winning with record 2-0. So
who do you have winning this game between two all-time quarterbacks?
well, I'm gonna take Brady and Buccaneers with this game.
Well,
I'm just gonna say the viewers from you guys just nonstop, just talking about Tom Brady. He's great, but this isn't his year. Rodgers is all-time more talented. Rodgers, whenever he wants, could choose to win or lose. It's really not a story of who's going to run the ball better. It's a story of if the wide receivers are going to start working out for Rodgers. And I have a big game for turnaround for Rodgers. It's a slow start, but it's always a slow start for Rodgers. He'll end up winning MVP. This is where he starts to turn around. He's going to get a big win here against the Bucs. He's going to cruise from here. So I'm going to take Rodgers and the Packers.
Jack?
Yeah, I have the Packers too. I don't like how the Buccaneers played the first 2 weeks, even though they're 2-0. They kind of won those games, and they're gonna finally realize when the Packers beat them by probably a lot that's the reason they lost.
Yeah, for me, I got the Bucs. I think Brady's weapons are going to truly shine. I think Julio Jones shows us that he's still Julio Jones, and Brady will obviously take advantage of it. So I got Tampa Bay. Scott?
Yeah, it could go either way. I'll take the Bucs, but I'd be a little bit cautious considering his top target is suspended now.
So we're going to go into the next game. We got the 49ers at the Broncos. Both teams are 1-1. So the question being asked by a lot of people right now is, will Trey Lance ever play for San Fran again? For me, I think it's way too early to tell. But I do believe that the Niners will realize that Jimmy Garoppolo is not good enough to win them a Super Bowl. I know he's made a Super Bowl. I get that. But I don't think he's the type of quarterback to ever put a ring on his finger and all of his teammates. Jimmy G's consistent play is going to once again get this team far into the playoffs just because how good their O-line is, how good their defense is. But they need an X factor, and Jimmy G is not that guy. Trey Lance is the only quarterback on that team that could really win them Super Bowl in my eyes. And on the Broncos side of things, their quarterback having some struggles as well. When is Russ going to turn this team around? It better be soon because they have a tough schedule ahead for the Broncos. He's not looking good at all. He's got the fourth lowest completion percentage. He has a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's also the 24th highest graded quarterback in PFF. So I think the pieces are there for him to succeed. It's an incredible running back duo. It's some young receivers, yes, but I think they can definitely grow with Russ over time. So hopefully Wilson and that offense can get going. And for my pick this game, it's rough, but I think I'm going to have to go San Fran. I think they finally got the quarterback that all the teammates love, even though he's not the better one, in my opinion. So I got the Niners winning this game in Denver. Scott?
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett's a bum. I got the Niners.
Brian?
I'm going to take the Broncos with this one because the 49ers, they have Elijah Mitchell. He's out. And Trey Lance is out. Even though Jimmy G, they're used to him, I feel like Russ is going to have a good game this week with all the weapons he has. He has Jerry Jeudy, and I feel like they're going to win.
Yeah. Well?
Yeah, week one we saw that, as Cass said, Nathaniel Hackett's a bum. We did see a little bit of, is Russ a problem? But we were quick to say, no, it's Hackett. Week two we saw that it's both. Russ is just – it was an ugly game against not a good team. They pulled out a win just barely. The running back problem in Denver still hasn't been solved. The 49ers, they just lost their best quarterback, but for them, that's not too much of a hit. Trey Lance wasn't that much better than Garoppolo. I just 49ers in this one.
Jack?
I think it's just easy. I think the Niners, those Deebo Samuel's RPOs, it's going to make the Broncos crumble. Jerry Jeudy might be out too. He's questionable, so give me the Niners.
That's another pretty even split. We're going to head into our last game of the preview. Will, you got the Cowboys and the Giants. Giants actually have the better record. Undefeated New York Giants. Did not think I'd be saying that. So is Cooper Rush the answer for the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting comparisons to Tom Brady. I don't think he's up there, but no, like in all seriousness, Cooper Rush has gotten so much hype, and he kind of lived up to it. I was going along with the jokes. I thought it was funny. Yeah, Cooper Rush isn't the new Tom Brady. No one ever is going to be him, but he played so well against a Bengals team that I expected to just demolish the Cowboys, make them look dumb. But I mean, Cooper Rush is working super well with that wide receiving core, and I mean he's not the answer, but he definitely probably can get partial credit on it.
No, he definitely can. And on the Giants side of the ball, are they legit contenders for the NFC East this year?
Yeah, I mean they're 2-0. It's a good start, but no, they're not good. Daniel Jones, their quarterback. Saquon had a great week 1, but it's not going to happen every week. It won't. They play 2 terrible teams. I mean, it's terrible living in New York and having to have these Giant fans walk around with so much pride that their sad franchise is 2-0. No, they're not good. They might get 3 more wins. They're not going to get close. They're going to run into teams like this week. They're going to the Cowboys. They're going to get blown out. They're not a good team.
All right, so Will, I think we got your pick right there. The Cowboys blowing out the Giants.
Yeah.
So Jack, I'll throw it to you.
I don't think they're going to blow them out, but I do think the Cowboys are going to win. Those check downs with Dalton Schultz are going to be really nice with Zeke and Pollard. It worked really well against the Bengals. I see them doing it again, beating the Giants, but maybe not by a blowout.
Yeah, I think Cooper Rush, his last 2 games as a Cowboy, he beat the Vikings at Minnesota, and now we just beat the Bengals. So I think he could definitely take a win in New York in prime time, and I think he will. So I got Dallas. Skeff?
I see Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence shutting down Saquon, and it's not really a great thing to hope for living in New Jersey with a bunch of Giants fans. But I really see the Cowboys taking this one.
Brian, who do you have in this one?
I think it's going to be a sweep. I feel like the Cowboys are going to beat the Giants.
I'd love to hear that as a Cowboys fan. And that is going to do it for us here in the St. Joe's NFL Week 3 preview. For Will, Jack, Saketh, Brian, I'm Ben. Thanks for watching.